Welcome to the Philopod, a podcast about anything and philosophy. This is your Philo podcaster for the day, Kerwin, here to talk to you all about morality and the good life. Wow, mukhang ang deep naman itong topic na to, pero no worries guys, I'm here to share my POV. Let's talk, let's chill, here at the Philopod. Good morning, afternoon, evening, and everything in between to everyone listening dito sa Philopod. Again, this is Kerwin, our Philopodcaster for today, and let's prepare ourselves sa isa na namang napaka-fruitful na discussion dito sa Philopod. For today's episode, let's dive deeper into the topic of what makes a good life and what role does morality play in answering this question. Magic sarap nga ba ang sadyang nakakapagpasarap ng buhay natin? Lang Mars. Pero, as usual, we want you, our avid listeners, to participate in this discussion and ask questions about the topic na i-discuss natin today. I made a story using my Instagram account at _KRWIN, that's at _Kerwin, without an E, asking you guys to ask me anything about morality and the good life. Now's the time to answer these questions on our segment we call Itanong Mo, Itanong Mo, Itanong Mo, Itanong Mo. Wow, sariling sikap sa echo. Ayan. So, we chose 3 questions out of the entries that we got from you guys, and it's time for me to answer some of them. Now, on to our first Itanong Mo question for today. So, for our first question, what defines a good life more? What you do or who you are? Explain your answer. Well, personally, my answer to this question is both of them. The what you do's are mostly anchored on theories on consequentialism such as utilitarianism, which talks about how moral values and actions are determined by its consequences or the amount of happiness it gives to a greater number of people. Example niyan, yung mga trolley problems na dinidiscuss natin sa classes natin sa philosophy, kung ipupull ba natin yung lever or hahayaan natin itong mangyari or dumiretso yung train given na ito yung context. Ayan. So, according to this view, a good life is one in which you engage in morally right actions, promote the well-being of others, and contribute positively to society. It's more of an external approach kumbaga. While on the flip side, the who you are more character-focused and internal with theories such as virtue ethics anchoring this belief. So, according to dun sa mga naniniwala sa who you are as a good life, having a good life is being able to cultivate virtues, qualities like honesty, trust, and integrity, among others na napakadami pang mga virtues qualities that will be the framework of an individual in achieving the good life. So more internal naman tong isang to, and para siyang collecting virtues as you go through life. So for me personally, di naman mutually exclusive yung dalawang yan eh. As a matter of fact, it's always about striking a balance of these two perspectives. For me, these two have a causal relationship. Why you do the things that you do is mostly influenced or primarily caused by the values that you believe. Hence, the duality of the good life and striking a balance of the two. Medyo safe answer, no? Wala akong sagot. Pero, kayo ba mga listeners, what defines a good life for you? Answer this question by tweeting it and using the hashtag PhilopodMorality. With that, punta na tayo sa ating second question for tonight. Today. Ayan. So, for our second question, take this case study. It is World War II and you have a Nazi friend who entrusted the weapon to you. You promise to keep it and give it only to your Nazi friend when asked. Recently, your Nazi friend found out you have a Jewish roommate and demands you give back the weapon. Will you give it to your friend? Why or why not? So for me, this question is sort of a no-brainer. I wouldn't give it to my friend as it would cause different kinds of harm to a lot of people. So to relate it to our topic at hand, which is morality and the good life, let's view the situation in the different moral perspectives on the good life. So first, consequentialism. So from a consequentialist standpoint, the moral value of an action is determined by its consequences. Obviously, ang potential na kahantungan ng situation is harm or even death ng Jewish roommate mo and their community. So from this perspective, morally, justifiable ang hindi pagbibigay ng weapon para hindi matuloy sa future negative damages and maprotektahan ang community ng roommate mo. Second perspective would be deontology. So the deontological ethics focuses on the principles or duties that guide our actions. And according to some theories, such as the Kantian ethics, treating others with respect and dignity is a fundamental moral principle. So in this case, one might argue that not giving back the weapon to the Nazi friend is a violation of his duty and promise, or my duty and promise to the Nazi friend. Kasi pinomise mo nga na ibibigay mo dapat yon. However, I might also argue that giving the weapon back to the Nazi friend would violate the principle of respect for human life and dignity, as it could contribute sa harm and violence against the Jewish community, specifically to your Jewish roommate. Therefore, it would be a matter of whose duty is more impactful, since pareho nga tayong may duty sa kanila. And for me, that would be of the rest of the human life and my Jewish roommate. Hence, it is morally wrong to comply with the Nazi friend's demand. Lastly, with virtue ethics, which it emphasizes the cultivation of virtuous character traits. So, one of the most relevant virtues na need pag-usapan dito sa question na to is about justice, or the virtue of justice. One might argue that giving the weapon back to the Nazi friend would betray the virtue of justice, as it would potentially contribute to the harm or even death of an innocent person. So, from this perspective, it would be morally right to refuse to comply with the Nazi friend's demand, as it would uphold the virtue of justice. Ayan, so napakadaming kong perspective na binigay para lang ma-defend na hindi ko ibibigay sa aking Nazi friend yung weapon na yun. Pero how about you guys? What would you do in this situation? Would you give it to your Nazi friend or keep it? Tweet your answers and use the hashtag PhiloPodMorality. With that, punta na tayo sa ating third question for today. Ayan. So para sa ating ikatatlong tanong, which moral theory do you think Filipinos subscribe under? Should that be the case? So first, it is good to start muna recognizing that the Philippines, being a nation with diverse cultures and diverse history sa buong kapuluan natin, yung mga tao natin may subscribe to various forms of moral theory, and hindi dapat natin i-restrict sa isang moral theory lang yung sinusunod nila. Pero if I were to ask, generally speaking, I think that the Philippines is mostly subscribed to a mixture of deontological beliefs and value or virtue ethics. So since the Philippines is mostly Catholic, they abide by some universal moral rules such as the Ten Commandments. Oh, hindi yan yung Ten Commandments na nasa overpass pa ng UP Town Center ha. Yun yung Ten Commandments na nasa Bible. Pero kidding aside, most of us follow these rules in order for us to live a good life and potentially go to heaven. We may also see deontology in the form of how we follow the paalalas and pamahiins of the elderly, as if they're passing on a moral piece of knowledge onto us, which we may view as something rightful and moral growing up. So here lies the virtue ethics part as well, where we see these advices as knowledge growing up and contribute to us being more moral beings. Tanda ko sa nanay ko, isa sa mga virtues na nakuha ko ay always look after your family in the future and your family right now. And since then, I always see family-oriented people as very mabait or morally right than others. Of course, hindi natin dapat gina-generalize yan kasi marami akong kilala na family-oriented nga pero masama naman ang ugali. Char! Ayan. Kaya ba guys, as a Filipino citizen of this country, what moral theory do you think we subscribe to? Again, you may tweet your answers and use the hashtag PhiloPodMorality. Oh, I think I was informed by the producers of the show that that's all the time that we have for today for your questions. Again, abang-abang lang tayo sa ating PhiloPod official Twitter account for a chance for you guys to ask us anything and philosophy. Pero before tayo magpaalam, punta tayo ngayon sa ating last segment, ang Ano Ngayon? Ano Ngayon? Ano Ngayon? Ano Ngayon? Wow, may pa-echo ulit. Ito ang ating Ano Ngayon question for the day. If everyone has their own definitions of right and wrong, is there still a need to argue about morality? Explain your answer. Ayan. Medyo ang daming layers nung tanong na yon, so kailangan natin siyang himayin. Pero generally, the question is pertaining to how important is moral discussion and discourse to the development of morality and the good life in our current society. And I think that relates to the second part of the third itanong mo question, which is should that be the case, how Filipinos subscribe to this certain philosophy. So first, the importance of moral discourse is it helps us recognize that throughout the world there exists a multitude of accepted moral beliefs. So it differs per culture, per social class, etc. And through moral discourse, it helps us guide these differences and appreciate the plurality of morality. Rhyming yun, plurality of morality. And second, moral arguments contribute to moral progress by challenging existing beliefs. So it fosters critical thinking and encourages the development of ethical positions that are more appropriate and well-founded. Third, moral arguments can provide a platform for resolving disagreements about right and wrong. Engaging in respectful and reasoned discourse allows individuals to present their viewpoints, challenge assumptions, and seek common ground. And through talks and discourses, we can reach a shared understanding that can mitigate conflicts arising from differing moral perspectives. Ayan. So, lastly, and this relates to the last part of the third question sa itanong mo, it engages us, or engaging in moral arguments is crucial for ethical education and social progress. So not everyone is open to a discourse or discussion, especially those that are controversial, yet potentially socially progressive in terms of the morals that are being accepted by the current society. And through discussing viewpoints on morality, we expose these individuals na medyo nahihiya or medyo hindi open sa pagdidiscuss ng moral standpoints na controversial, into seeing beyond their own assumptions and consider alternative perspectives, or kung gusto mo naman nila, add justifications to their existing beliefs. And through this, we help everyone challenge how well their beliefs still stand given such complexities in morality. So, yeah, I guess those are the 4 reasons why there is still a need to argue about morality. It facilitates understanding, it fosters moral progress, it resolves conflicts, and it contributes to ethical education and social progress. And I think I'll end this segment with a tip to continually challenge what you believe in. Well, I think that's a wrap for today. I hope you learned something or two from me in today's episode. This has been Kerwin, your Philo podcaster for today, and thank you for joining us here at the PhiloPod, a podcast about anything and philosophy. Let's talk, let's chill here at the PhiloPod. Thank you guys. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon in between. Bye-bye.